So in a way, this play of life, this journey of life, is about shifting the adventure into a joyous one, into one of great curiosity, discovery, and releasing the sense of the stress, releasing the sense of being a victim to life, that life is hard. And in a way, life is hard. There are many challenges, and yet it is, of course, how we be with life and our perspective of seeing and meeting life that allows the experience of the adventure to be either a joyous one of discovery or one that feels hard, like we're identified with it being hard. As we have spoken of, we are creating out of the frequencies that are within us, that are protective. And so if life is hard, then in a way, we're holding a belief that life is hard. And so then we are creating a life that is hard. And of course, when we hear that, we can feel a frustration, a shame, a agitation of like, well, I don't want it to be hard. I'm not trying to create something hard. And it can connect us to feelings of shame or guilt that I'm having hard experiences. But of course, life isn't asking that of us. Life is just dancing unconditionally as life. And we are that life, we are that unconditional life. And the adventure is to kind of free ourselves from the binding thoughts and beliefs, to free ourselves from the sense of division and separation from life, to be one with life, where the discordant frequencies that we are holding, and we could then say the discordant frequencies that we're creating from, can be transmuted and alchemized into resonating fully, multidimensionally in the true essence, nature, the true frequency of love, inclusivity, receptivity, and welcome, so that is where we are creating from. And in a way, if we don't allow ourselves to kind of drown or be capsized in the frequencies of the victim or the sense of division, then we can discover that we are actually incredibly powerful and potent, that we are multidimensional beings of great refined intelligence that is as yet fully untapped, that we are using just a small amount of our capacity. And this adventure of life is about tapping into, connecting with, and opening to the full potential of who we are, what we are as multidimensional intelligence, and that we are not limited and restricted and divided from wholeness, from the source of creation, that we are not even co-creators, but we are creation itself unconditionally, as an intelligence that's not personal and that is not trying to create struggles and challenges for itself. It's actually trying to untangle itself. And so this experience of life is a great adventure. It's a great discovery. And there's no doubt that in the human condition, it feels challenging and it feels hard, and we can feel tangled into it. And yet, whenever we catch ourselves in those frequencies of feeling a victim to life, or falling into a sense that life is happening to us, and that we are powerless, that we are helpless, and that we are away from any sense of hope, Of course it's going to feel hard if we feel that we are powerless and that there is no hope. So how do we reconnect to the power and the hope of glory? How do we reconnect to the wellspring of life that nourishes us and doesn't replace limiting beliefs with new beliefs, but it actually connects us to an intelligence that knows itself already. Life is an intelligence that knows itself already. So how do we connect to the intelligence of life that is unconditional and free, so that we can live this great, glorious, revelatory truth as an adventure with curiosity, and we can find a joy even in the moments where discordance or dissonance is coming forward, because we start to recognize, oh, this is good. This is the unwinding, the untangling. This is surfacing out of the unconscious for revelation. This is not coming forward as a mistake or because I'm doing something wrong, because I'm lacking, right? So we're so used to qualifying every experience in a way that makes me either right or wrong. And we're desperately trying to be right, but often feeling wrong. And the reason that we're trying to be right is because of that deep-rooted sense that I am wrong, I am bad, or there's something lacking. So that deeply held belief that there's something wrong with me, I am unworthy, I am lacking, the frequencies of shame and guilt and doubt and division have us wanting to play the game of life as a winner who is right and who is trying to prove themselves as right or as good, right? So we start to see that that whole mechanism is a mechanism that is showing us that whenever we are trying to prove ourselves, or whenever we are trying to be seen or validated or confirmed or understood by the external, that this is a key, a marker that tells us, oh, that's my unworthiness. That's the sense in me. And that I want to see, and that I want to hold with so much care and kindness, and not overshadow the tenderness of that place inside me with a mechanism of protection that is trying to prove itself. Because the proving, the trying to be seen, is all a way of avoiding meeting the deep feelings of unworthiness. We could say the adventure of this life is being able to sit right in the center of the glorious unworthiness that the human condition dances as, right? Without identifying and believing, but being able to rest here with the squirming frequencies that want to try to get away. Because when we realize that every human, however successful or unsuccessful they may seem in a worldly interpretive sense, that every human is dealing with the same set of conditions that are the byproduct of the belief in separation and division from source. So what we are exploring together, what we are adventuring in together, is what is it to connect to the field of presence of unconditional life, where we can attune with and remember at the level of resonant frequency the intelligence that we are, the truth of who we are, the love that we are. And when we speak of love, the love that we are, we're speaking of the frequency of being receptive, all-inclusive, welcoming. A love, the love that we are, is the unconditional receptivity, the unconditional openness, the unconditional, inclusive, all-encompassing technology of love that just loves. Love just loves. Love is in love with itself, in and as everything, whatever it looks like, right? Love is in love with itself. Whatever the appearance is seeming to manifest as, love knows its essence. In a way, love is like an antenna that recognizes its essence, nature, the sameness in everything. It's the frequency of unity. It's the frequency of one. And that frequency of one is too the frequency of what we might call the divine, the purity, the divinity. We might call it God or glory or mother or wholeness. But we are attuning with what love truly is as an undivided, unconditional wholeness and openness. And the technology, the natural technology of that intelligence is receptivity, inclusivity, a total unconditional welcome. And so to return to love, the love that we are, is returning to this capacity that we naturally have to love everything in the knowing of the essence, nature of everything as being the same, right? So, of course, as always, as these words come, this is a field of transmission. It's a field of intelligence that is flowing within itself, and the words are not information. The words, they definitely give the mind an opportunity to be occupied, and that's grace, because while the mind is occupied with the words, the consciousness is attuning to itself and opening to a glorious, joyous revelation of itself. So it's just to notice these are the multi-dimensional layers of our being, that the mind is having one experience, the consciousness is having its own experience, the intelligence is having its experience, the body is having its experience, and we are these multi-dimensional beings that are fields of intelligence, of light, dancing, that we are activating each other. We are activating the light frequencies, the codings that that the intelligence is. We're activating so that we can attune, remember, awaken. It doesn't belong to anybody. We all have a unique kind of fluidity and function in this great dance of life that is one. There is no hierarchy. We're here to be in this together. We're here to help each other. We're here to support each other, shine the light for each other. So whilst there's no ladder to climb, there's no one that's holding that as a higher possibility, because in a way we could say that the higher that we travel, the deeper into the deeper into the dust and grace and humility we also travel. So we don't truly ever travel higher that carries us away from, of course, the seeming higher, which we may call refined or subtle recalibrations that we open to in consciousness, that might be more refined, subtle frequencies that we call higher frequency. The higher, the deeper our rootedness, the deeper our humility, because we're attuned with the unconditional nature of life, the unconditional nature of what love truly is. And we're meeting this life experience in a way that says, I see you exactly as you are, life, and whatever is here right now, I receive you, because I know the essence. I know what this is, and whatever the direct experience is in this moment, I am the love that receives the love. And whatever my human experience is, then I know that this is carrying me deeper into a sense of freedom, grace, love, revelation, a sense of the all-encompassing, all-inclusive, all that is, right? That there is truly only one, and that everything has to belong to that one. And our lived experience is the adventure of discovering, how is this all one? How is the play of life that feels like ups and downs and ins and outs and back to front and upside down, the right way up? How is all of that the one? How can our lived experience be recognized as one? And in a way, if we realize that the adventure is not about already feeling that we should have already achieved that, or we should already know that, and that we are failing because something is arising that it feels discordant or disturbing in our field, or we feel upset or anxious or stressed, that we're not failing in those moments. And can you just feel that if we don't reference a sense of failure when we feel fragile and tender, hurt, upset, unbalanced, anxious, if we're not referencing a sense of failing, then how much more spaciousness is there, and care? Oh, it's bringing tenderness in my heart. That sense of the tenderness and patience that we can have for ourselves when we don't immediately shut down whatever is trying to come forward, and that we can really meet with care and compassion the parts of us that are surfacing, arising, to be met in love, by love, and open to the revelation of being love, right? So can you feel how if we shut down the natural flows and rhythms of life, the ebbs and the flows, the in-breath and the out-breath of life, the tide, right, that goes in and goes out, the play in nature, the cycles of nature, the day, the night, the sun, the rain, the snow, the storm, the infinite blue sky, right? All of it, the play, the seed, the nourishment, the tender growth, the strengthening, the blossoming, the fruiting, the ripeness, the sweetness, the end of that cycle, the death, the decay, the compost that feeds, right? That this cycle of life, it's a natural cycle, and everything in this play of life is part of the natural cycle. And when we start to attune our human lived experience as a natural experience of ebb and flow, and we start attuning our lived experience with what nature is showing us, always, we start to enter the rhythm of life, the rhythm of unconditional life, where life isn't shutting itself down because a leaf goes brown. It's not like, oh, it's all over, tree. You're You're no longer part of this. You're doing it wrong. You need to be always, always, showing your best side. No, that's not what this life is about. This life is about accepting every single side, facet, angle, position, posture of our lived experience, and recognizing that when we are protected, there are conditions that we put upon life, that we put upon ourselves. They're self-imposed, right? So we were speaking this last week about how does it feel to rest into the moment where nothing is being asked of you. Where this moment, where there's a recognition that this moment is asking nothing of you. That the one that is asking something of you is your own mind. That we have these beliefs and ideas that have us ask and have expectations of ourselves. And yes, that can be projected, and we can have expectations of others, and we can feel like others have expectations of us. And in a way, this play of the lived experience is to release those expectations, unnatural expectations of ourselves and of others, and to realize that we are not here to meet anyone else's expectations either, because that's all a part of that sense of unworthiness and lack, the misunderstanding of love as compliance, the misunderstanding that love is pleasing people in order to maintain connection. But that's not the truth of what love is. Love is actually what sets us all free. And when we actually attune with the glorious inclusivity of what love is, we can set ourselves free from the expectations we can impose upon ourselves and others. And we also then set everyone in our field of constellational companionship free from the projections and entanglements that we place upon others. And of course, in that we set ourselves free. In that sense of setting ourselves free, we also invite a deeper meeting and feeling of our own field of experience. We feel the energy of our nervous system and our consciousness in a more subtle and refined way, and that will bring us into a deeper, more refined sense of being the presence, but it will also bring us into a more refined sense of feeling what feels discordant in the field, being more alert and aware of discordance that is present in the field. Yeah. And so then perhaps you can also feel that if we make it wrong, oh, I'm feeling challenging things, if we make that wrong, then we are not giving the full receptivity and spaciousness and inclusivity to what is arising in the field. So in a way love is inviting us into an intimacy with ourselves, an intimacy that we are generally deeply, deeply longing for. And it can play in a sense of really longing for an intimacy with another or with others. But of course, if we don't have that intimacy with ourselves, then we're not truly available for that kind of intimacy. And we're not then having an expectation of anyone else to meet our needs, because we're discovering that the great nourishment is with an intimacy with ourself, an ability to be present with ourself, or we could say with the presence field that brings us into an intimacy with Source, an intimacy with God and glory, an intimacy with revelation, an intimacy with love, right? So opening to this possibility of seeing the dance of life as an adventure that is a joyous adventure of discovery, and that we're never doing anything wrong, that we truly are always doing our best. Like everyone is doing their best. We may have a narrative about someone else's best as really not being good enough, but when we let our focus only be with ourselves, we stop projecting expectation, and we just trust that there is a great intelligence that is taking care of the whole field, and that we don't need to be concerned with necessarily other people's behavior, but we keep the focus with ourselves and a realness that allows us to truly experience whatever we are feeling and what is happening in our relationship with life and the relational field of companionship. But that it is our capacity to be intimate with our own experience that is our first place of resting. It's the first place that we are hanging out. It's the first place that we are exploring. And that this is bringing us into the adventure more deeply, because we are meeting what is arising without making it wrong. And in this we are connecting to the unified field, and we're also connecting to we're connecting to the flow of life. We're connecting to a flow of life that is not opposing itself, is not rejecting or resisting itself. We're entering more deeply into the flow of life that is truly flowing within itself. Yeah. So as the words are coming here, just to notice what is enlivened in your field of experience. So to be present with what is being noticed, be present with what is enlivened in your field, what is stirred, what is being noticed, because as we attune, just as we spoke of, we open to the attunement and the resonant recognition of being the intelligence. So we have that recognition that says, yes, 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 that aligns. And as we attune, we also open to certain flows of surfacing, purification that can come forward. Things can also be stirred, and what is ready to come into the light can also feel called forward to be illuminated, to be included. Yeah. So just in this moment, just being awake and aware to your moment, your lived experience in this moment, and what is being noticed. That the curious thing is that when we make ourselves wrong, that is a protective mechanism. It's curious because it is a protective mechanism that brings a sense of stress and suffering and doesn't actually feel good, but it's a protective mechanism because we don't maybe feel like we have the capacity, or we haven't fully invited ourselves to be present with what is underneath the sense of making ourselves wrong, right? So when we catch that sense of making ourselves wrong, catch the sense of shame or guilt or dividing in the moment, and we can trace it back to realize, wow, I'm moving from a place that is believing that there's something wrong with me, that I'm unworthy, that I'm lacking, unlovable. And if I am believing that, then if I don't see that, receive it, and allow the unwinding to happen, then it will continue to perpetuate. Right? And so when we speak of the meeting, it's a meeting at the vibrational frequency. Just the energy in the nervous system, that we are coming to be able to be present with the nervous system in a way that allows us to, that allows every feeling to be here without making an analysis or a story of whether it's allowed or belongs, but a meeting of whatever it is with openness and a welcoming.